I mean, I look at your page pretty consistently, but yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea to use LinkedIn, and it might even help expand my research administration tendrils to other people in university.
I love
So,
that word, tendrils. I'd actually be curious about that too, is that, like who wants to be using LinkedIn? Like who's excited? Like I want to be doing this. This is something I think I like I feel like I want to be doing, but there's something that holds you back. What is it? And you don't have to answer now. You can answer later. So for those of you that don't know me, I'll introduce myself and then I'll have Saira introduce herself. My name is Minessa. I'm a research administrator who's been doing this for 25 years, and one of my biggest passions right now is helping to connect people with opportunities and how can you leverage the tools that exist out there to create the most opportunities for yourself when you want those opportunities. And Saira and I have historically been very good at mentoring and working with people. This is our experience. This is what we really love to do, is helping to identify opportunities that you may not need right now, but like 6 to 8 months down the line, you're like, I need this now. And it's already there waiting for you rather than being like, shit, I got to get started, and now panic mode. Saira.
I actually know most of you. So for those of you who I do know, nice to see you again. For those who I don't know, very nice to meet you. My name is Saira Valley. I am Minessa's sister. I think it's important for anyone who doesn't know us for you to make sure that you are aware, because sometimes we bicker and it makes people uncomfortable. So
It can get weird.
We are truly siblings. So I'm also a research administrator. I've done this for about 25 years. I love this work. I'm really passionate about it. But I think that LinkedIn is so cool because it basically creates this like 24/7 resume for you that's constantly advertising your skills, your resources, your connections, your network, your expertise, your interests. And so I think leveraged the right way, it can really be a tool that can change your entire place on the playing board in the research administration space, but also other spaces if that's something that you're, interested in. If you're like, oh, I want to do some research admin adjacent work, this is something that can really help you get in front of the right people. It's really your opportunity to market yourself. So I think today we're going to spend some time talking about ways to do that, why it's important, how to get started, how to overcome some of those fears. I will personally tell you, LinkedIn used to scare me so much. And I was always afraid to put content out there, always afraid to engage. But now I've been doing it for a while and it feels so much more comfortable, so much better. So a lot of this is really just seat time. The more you do it, the more comfortable you will be. So hopefully you'll leave here today with some practical takeaways and some tips about things that you can do to help maximize your LinkedIn presence as well.
Fabulous. So one of the reasons why we decided to do this was because Saira and I talk a lot, like challenge our assumptions constantly. And this conversation that we have about LinkedIn and stuff like that, we actually every so often will have it amongst ourselves to see, is the tool that we were using still worth the effort and the time and the energy.
Yeah.
And for a really long time, I didn't use LinkedIn, and neither did Saira. And I think I started using it before you. Was that how that worked? I can't remember. Yeah?
Oh.
That's, I don't know who remembers, right? And the reason why I did that was because, we need each other for a variety of reasons, right? So not just because we have information that the other person doesn't, because there's too much information now for any one person to be like, I'm the expert in all the things. And I've been doing this 25 years. I am not the expert in all the things. I really, really need a network to help me with things. Otherwise, there's just areas where I just collapse under the weight of, I have no idea. You may who was just saying this? You were saying about how your organization is going through layoffs and all of those changes. And a lot of those people right now are looking for jobs, and everybody is going to be applying at the same time. And that's one of the challenges that we have right now as research administrators who are looking for jobs, is that everybody's applying for them and some people aren't hearing back. Some of them are phantom jobs. How do you stand out, right, in that playing field? And Saira and I used to do marketing years ago. And has anybody ever heard that if I wanted to sell you this pen, in order for me to sell you this pen and you to trust me enough for you to buy this pen from me, you have to have seen me and or this pen 7 times. That used to be the number in the 1980s, where 7 times is how often somebody needs to see you to be able to, oh yes. Job hunting is really no different. In order for somebody to be like, I see your resume in the sea of other resumes are there, they need to do this. They need to know who you are. So, oh, I've seen you at Encura. Oh, I talked to you. Oh, you did something in the magazine, right? That kind of thing. Except now that number increased from 7 to 15 in 2002 to 20 something. And now we're at like 39. Like the number is, and it's because of how much social media and
people are just constantly being
they're just
bombarded,
constantly
right?
not a lot of stuff penetrates the outer shell of like actually registering in the brain. And so in order to be able to have yourself register in anyone's brain as a part of the research administration community, you need to be more, you leverage the opportunities that allow you to do that. And LinkedIn is one of those ways. And so that's one of the reasons why using LinkedIn from the very beginning is helpful, is because whatever it is that you need later, whether it's you need spreadsheets, you need a job, you need to stay with somebody when you go to a PRA and you only have one, or you need a friend to stay with you, it all starts with getting to know people. And getting to know people starts with being out there. And being out there starts with LinkedIn.
Yeah. And, and I think the thing with LinkedIn too is to remember that it's just one item in your toolkit, right? You're going to have to really think about, if you really want to get out there and be on people's radars, you have to kind of put yourself out there in a bunch of different modalities. So LinkedIn is just one of those. And what's great about it is that you don't have to physically go anywhere, right? It's just on your computer, kind of like Facebook or Instagram, where you can put yourself in social media and be present without having to actually physically go somewhere. LinkedIn really is marketing yourself, right? So some of the things I saw in here is about like, you all have kind of different reasons why you want to use LinkedIn. Some of you for job searching, some of you for networking and connecting. One thing I would recommend when we talk about barriers to using LinkedIn, one of the things I've heard from a lot of people is, I don't want my boss to see me on LinkedIn and start thinking that I'm out there job hunting. That makes me feel insecure, right? It will make me feel like I will be the first one on the block to be removed, because if I'm on LinkedIn and I'm active, it must mean I'm searching for another job, right? The reality is that LinkedIn is about, Minessa touched on this, it's about a lot more than job hunting. It's about network building so that you can be better at your job, right? We talk about transactive memory, and transactive memory is really about, who are my resources, right? Like I can't, like Minessa said, I can't know everything, right? Saira knows a ton of stuff that I know nothing about, right? So if I need an answer to a question that I know Saira is an expert in, I'm going to reach out to Saira. But I wouldn't have even known that Saira existed if I wasn't out there on LinkedIn, making connections, talking to people. So if you think about LinkedIn less as a vehicle for you to find a job and more as a vehicle for you to grow your connections and your network, so you can show up more informed, educated, current with all the issues that are in your job, it will do two things. One, it will give you that subconscious confidence to engage and post in LinkedIn and not worry about what your boss is going to think, because you have framed it as, this is for me to get better at what I'm already doing. It's for me to grow my network. It's for me to have those interactions, right? Second, it's actually going to subconsciously also help drive your posts. So when you're making posts or you're engaging with other people's content, that subconscious filter that you have, that veil, is going to come automatically in a lot of these posts that you make and give it that level of authenticity that you're going to be looking for. So having direction really helps. Third, I would strongly recommend LinkedIn is truly marketing. There's just no matter what you're doing on LinkedIn, you're marketing yourself one way or the other. Read Marketing Made Simple by Donald Miller. I'll put it in the chat. Even though that really is a book that's about true marketing, what's great about it is it will help you understand what about yourself you want to market, what your one-liner is, meaning what do I stand for, right? Who am I as an individual in the organizational environment? It's a great book. It will help you speak about yourself more fluently. In the event that you do find yourself in a position where you're looking for a job or interviewing with somebody, it will also really help you in that regard, because it will really help you think about yourself as a product. And the reality is we are our own best product. So we have to know how to talk about ourselves with confidence. That book is really going to help you show up, not just in LinkedIn with confidence, but it's also going to help you show up in interviews that you will hopefully, get if that's what you're looking for. It will also help you in that regard. Sorry, Minessa, I feel like I just went off on a total
No, not at all. I was actually pulling the link out while you were doing that because I figured I could assist with that and agree with everything you said. One of the things that I want to jump back to is about your boss and like, what will people think? And in Pakistan, this is like, it's actually a whole article on this. Log kya kahenge? This is like every single thing that you do, it's what will people say? So like, it's a big, big deal. And so it's something that I think about a lot. And the way that you get ahead of that is by talking about it first. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what it is. What will people think? You can get ahead of it by just being ahead of it and saying it before anybody else. And so if you, in your meetings with your boss, one-on-one, whatever, bring up the fact that you have been working with RAs, blah, blah, blah. You've learned XYZ, and that LinkedIn is a really powerful resource, and you've started to see it in this way. Suggest that they do get on it, right? You're not saying it
Yeah.
to like disclose, right? Because that makes it weird. That makes it sound like there's something you're trying to I need to tell you. It's like, no, I'm not. I have to tell you something really exciting. I've been using LinkedIn and it's been so powerful. You should see how much stuff is there. Shameless plug. Tell them to follow me.
You can say like, oh, I just read this great article that Sarah Trimmer posted, or there's this great website that she posted that can give you this information, right? That's a really great way to bring it into the conversation as a benefit to everybody.
Actually, the best example is the thing, Sarah, you just posted on LinkedIn with the shutdown, what to do when the government is shutting down.
Yep.
Like that's getting the rounds, right? So you share that with your boss and be like, hey, listen, I found this on LinkedIn. This might be helpful to us. And now you're just, it's not a big deal. And
Yeah.
I think that kind of helps to take the kind of, and if they're concerned, so I'm going to bring this up because this has actually happened to a client of mine once, and it was really interesting. So she goes on LinkedIn, she's totally normal, LinkedIn normal, doing the thing, and her boss messages her and says, I just saw that you posted something on LinkedIn. Are you looking for a job? And she was like, no, I'm not looking for a job. I'm just posting on LinkedIn, then she just gave the spiel. And the boss started stalking her on LinkedIn, like every day, and then messaging her. And like, so the conversation we had at that point was, this is actually an overreach on your boss's part. So like, I know how you're feeling, and absolutely, I would be feeling the same way. But just because they're behaving inappropriately doesn't mean it's okay. So I think that's something to just sort of keep in mind,
Yeah.
is that there is a level at which like we can obviously temper all these things, but if you are in an unhealthy or toxic environment, then these tactics may not work and you may find yourself more like it's getting worse and worse, but that's more of a sign of perhaps these job hunting options are a good idea for you so you can go somewhere.
Right. So let's talk about this, right? So the time I've talked to so many people that are job hunting or they're looking for their next opportunity and they get onto LinkedIn and they're posting and they're getting zero traction. You really can't show up on LinkedIn and expect to see any real results the time, like at the moment that you need it. It's like I posted this story last week or this week, I'm going to tell it again, right? It's asparagus. Okay. For anyone who works in gardening, you already know where this is going. Okay. Very long story short, my father-in-law has a degree in agriculture. I decided one year that a garden would be an awesome idea in the granite state where the entire ground is granite. Tilling that soil, like, let me tell you, I learned a lot about resilience doing that. But anyway, I said to him, I'd really like to grow asparagus. And he goes, can you get me some seeds? And he says, Saira, if I buy you asparagus seeds, it's going to be 3 years before you see anything grow. But under the surface, that seed is working hard. It's growing. And once it comes out, once it flowers, you will get asparagus for 2, 3, 4 decades, right? It will last a long time, but you're not going to feel like anything is happening for the first 3 years. It's going to feel invisible. That's how LinkedIn is. You can't plant the seed the day you need to eat the asparagus because you will be very disappointed. You have to plant the seeds. Now, I'm not saying you have to plant them 3 years in advance. It's not really asparagus, but you need to give yourself a little bit of time. You need to give yourself an opportunity to see what works, what doesn't work, who is your target market. And that's where this Marketing Made Simple book will come very helpful for you because it will help you understand who your audience is, right? Who are you talking to? What do you want to say? It will also help you with the second bullet, which is how to set up your profile. And Minessa and I are going to talk about that next. But I just want to encourage you that if you haven't been on LinkedIn thus far, today is a great day to start. And you can do that in a couple of very, very simple ways that won't involve a lot of work for you. One, re-share somebody else's content. People who are on LinkedIn love other people sharing their content. Please don't be shy, okay? So if you see a post by somebody that you like, see Minessa's post, see my post, see Jordan maybe has a post, maybe Sarah has a post, just hit share and put a little comment in there, right? Second, use LinkedIn hashtag generators. They're awesome. Just Google it, LinkedIn hashtag generator. You can actually put in there what your post is about and it will give you relevant hashtags. Don't use too many. 3 or 4 is plenty. So just enough to get on the right radars. Okay. So those are 2 very simple things that you can do right away. Do it once a week, just so that you're out there kind of practicing. The more you do that, the more you're going to show up. But that's a really good way to kind of break the ice.
The other way actually is to just comment on other people's posts.
Oh yeah,
just because, a lot of times you're like, I don't have time to post on something, and sometimes I don't. because it's part of my one of the things for me is I have a schedule where so you'll notice that you may comment, because Sarah tags me and things. I save all of those notifications, and at the end of the week I go in and then I comment on them, because unlike Facebook or Instagram, these posts resurrect multiple times. And so on LinkedIn, you don't have to worry about timeliness the way you have to worry about it on, like, where you probably have heard on, like, you got to post and you have to get engagement. LinkedIn doesn't work like that. The way LinkedIn works is you'll make the post, it'll get some traction, it'll disappear, and then suddenly it'll resurrect again, and then it'll get even more traction, and then it resurrects multiple times. So by you actually taking time to respond, right? Like it gives you more of that traction, right? So like Sarah's post now will get a bump up in a week, and then someone else will comment, and then someone will have someone comment 3 weeks later, and then it'll live again. So don't worry too much about, oh, well, I didn't get back to it today, so why even bother? Go in, do a couple, and be done with it. It doesn't have to be a lot, because then, like Melissa, right? Let's use Melissa as an example. Melissa, I see you comment on a couple of things of mine, and then honestly, I feel like we already know each other because I have ADHD. So at that point, we really do know each other. I don't need to see you in person to know you. Like, now we're friends. And that's how everybody will see it. Like, that's how it happens for almost all of us. So like, you have a couple of these exchanges on LinkedIn, and even without posting anything, and now you've made friends.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's really, really key, is that just having a schedule helps. So for me, what I do is on the weekends, I spend like 2 days. I do 2 posts one day, 3 posts the next day, and I schedule them. So it's already done. All of my work for the next week is already done, and it only takes me maybe a half an hour. And then during the week, I go in and I, like, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. I scroll, I find a few that mean something to me, I comment, I share, I'm done. So this doesn't have to be a big lift, but it can have huge impact. If you follow me, I posted just the other day about like my own LinkedIn stats. And the reason I did that is I wanted you all to see the power of just showing up, right? Just by putting content out there. Sometimes I post things and nobody comments, but that doesn't mean no one's seeing it, right? It just means that nobody's commenting. So don't let that discourage you. If nobody engages, doesn't matter, right? Keep posting. I was doing that, post. Nobody saw anything. One day I did a post, it got shared like 106 times. And I was like, what?
It's always the one you don't think also. It's the one you're like, oh, this is the dumbest post no one's ever going to see. Like, and you're like, what? Like, okay.
Right.
All of the ones I spent hours writing, like nobody sees.
Yeah, let's talk about profiles. Well, the first thing I do want to say though is Minessa's LinkedIn has it is so good that it makes everyone feel like I will never be able to do that. However,
I'm an artist. Okay, I spend a lot of time drawing.
But I want to tell you that Canva is an awesome resource that will do a lot of this for you with drag and drop. Okay, so it doesn't have to be fancy, but Canva actually has LinkedIn headers. Like, mine is not nearly as fancy as Minessa's.
It's gorgeous. It's so simple, and this is all you need. What you really need is to have your name, what you do, like just, one line. And when I say what you do, I don't necessarily mean I'm a research administrator. That's fine. I would actually dig deeper, work with our friend ChatGPT to like dig deeper and find out what aspect of research administration really lights you up. So that if so for example, let's say so Saira and I both really don't like pre-award. I really hate pre-award, like so hardcore. You're never going to find me up here saying pre-award guru. I can do pre-award and I am a guru, but I don't want to do that. So what I do is, I don't. So I specifically do not put that there. So I know that it seems like if I'm looking for a job, I need to be able to say that, or if I'm looking for networking or whatever, I need to be as broad as possible to be able to open up. It is counterintuitive. I've been teaching marketing for many, many years, and the hardest thing for every business owner, every person in marketing, every person looking for a job, I've never seen this not happen, including with myself, is the intense desire to be broad when what you really need to do is niche down as tight as you can. So like if you like animal compliance, then that's what you put up there. Expert in animal compliance in research. And that is what will set you apart. I see some chats, so I'm really curious about what the chats are. I'm so excited.
One of the things that people do a lot, and they do this at work, Minessa and I are going to do a resume workshop as well, but this is relevant to this conversation as well, is people tend to list tasks. They tend to list things they've done. They don't talk in terms of impact, right? So when you're writing your bio, you really want to be thinking about what impact have I had? So even I struggle with this. This is not easy to do.
ChatGPT can help.
ChatGPT can help. I will leave that to Minessa. I'm not a huge ChatGPT fan. But anyway, when I think about if I really want to market myself as a successful leader, right, who cultivates talent, just saying the words, right? Experienced leader who has cultivated talent. I mean, okay. But if instead I talk about how I have successfully trained and placed 7 different entry-level RAs, it grew them into leadership roles such as executive director, compliance officer, all of a sudden it has a very different impact, right? Because now I'm saying I had a hand in training, developing, and cultivating this new talent that went from entry-level research administrator to executive director, right? That's a pretty substantial career trajectory that I helped support someone get to. So you really want to be thinking about things like impact. How much money did I save? How much time did I save? How many hours did I improve efficiency for XYZ project? Do I have any tools or resources that I developed in any of my roles that helped increase efficiencies or transparency, right? Think about work in terms of impact. The second thing is in your profile, I would really think about what does your ideal next role look like, right? What is it? Don't write for what you are, write for what you want, right? Manifest that by putting it out in the universe. Thank you.
Gosh.
Write about the person that you know you are, and maybe you haven't been given the opportunity to demonstrate in its full capacity yet because you're, stuck in a role that's less than what you want, or you're stuck in the wrong kind of role. Like someone just said here, I really love pre-award, but I'm in post-award. If pre-award is what you really want to do, your profile should really be exemplifying that skill set so that the people that are looking at you are saying, oh, wow, this person is really into pre-award. Minessa, any comments on that?
Yeah, I also think one of the ways to do it is steal. This is not, and so look at, I'm gonna be realized, look at Saira's profile, look at my profile, go through everything that we have in there, steal stuff, rewrite it. Like that's how I did my first one, is I always look at somebody who has, and Jen Sabak has a good, I like going through people's, I don't do it as much anymore just because my LinkedIn, once I got it set, now all I do is post because it's kind of in lockdown. It's in good shape. But I just went and looked and said, what are other people doing? And I started to find how sometimes the language that I did like, sometimes language that I didn't like, and you'll build it over time. I also don't recommend doing this all at once, right? So you may do, I typically, if I had to do my whole LinkedIn profile, I would just never do it. So it becomes okay, go in and do the cover photo. Yes. And then maybe next week, that takes 10 minutes. And then maybe next week you're like, okay, I'll update my little description. And then maybe the week after, I'll just do it in pieces because this is again, unless you're like, I need to find a job tomorrow, which LinkedIn's not going to really help you with that right now. But unless as I said that, I was like, it's not going to do that. But, and you're like, I need to do this so that I can. Ultimately, take your time. It's no rush because you can both build your profile, post on it, start commenting on things, do it all just little bits at a time. So Saira says she uses half an hour, and that's perfect, right? Just half an hour. That's what I do. Half an hour a week. And in full disclosure, I have somebody who writes my posts for me. Her name is Katie. She's my best friend in the whole world. And she and I are like the same brain. So she will write them and get them started because I have blank slate syndrome, and she'll send them to me. And then I will go in and update them with my personal stuff, and then she will finish it off and upload it. So, and the reason why I do that is because this is for my business. So I've chosen to hire somebody to do it for me.
I love what you said just now about breaking it down into phases, because that is something that I'm the type who, again, this is an ADHD thing. If you can't visualize the finished product, you tend to get this paralytic. I can't start. I'm just not even doing it. But once I kind of accepted that it wasn't stagnant. LinkedIn is a living, breathing organism in the social media environment. Your profile is going to constantly evolve and change. What you put out there today, first of all, it doesn't matter if you change it later. I promise you, no one's going to go back and be like, Katie had something totally different on there yesterday, right? They're not going to think that. So it's totally fine for you to play with it, for you to just work with it and do it in phases. You don't have to have a finished product to get started. Just do it. Get started. Going out for walks is really difficult. I'm afraid of bears. I live in the country. There's bears, I find every excuse not to do it. But what I do instead now is I'm just just do it. Just stop thinking about it. Stop rationalizing, stop debating yourself. Just get up and go. So that's another thing, is just don't think about it, right? Just do. Just take the next action. You don't have to solve the entire profile in one day. Another thing to kind of dovetail what Minessa said about looking at other people's content. If there are job postings, Minessa shares job postings, I share job postings. If one catches your eye, look at the job description. What are the things in that job description that you look at and you're like, oh, wow, I could do that. And I would love to do that. Make sure that is in your profile, right? take that language, make it your own, put it in there. That's going to, and then also be thinking about how can I integrate this stuff into my experience, right? So that if someone's looking at work I did at maybe MGH or DFCI or maybe Duke, right? Where did I do those things? Make sure it's showing up. Because when LinkedIn is matching you to like potential opportunities, it's basically looking to see, do you have relevant experience? So if you're looking at those job descriptions, even if you don't want a job, I cannot encourage you enough to look at job descriptions anyway, because they will inspire you. Mm-hmm. They will remind you about things you've forgotten about yourself. Oh, I did that.
I know, right? Oh, I did that once.
I don't think I've said that anywhere in my resume. I should add that, right? So it's a really good way for you to remind yourself of your own personal power, and make sure that you're articulating that personal power in a way that LinkedIn will use it to your advantage.
I want to actually piggyback on that because, one of the things that so I struggle with social anxiety. I don't ever know what to say, right? So for me, one of the biggest things about becoming a marketing person was actually because I was terrified of it. And I said, I'm going to become an expert in this because I'm so afraid of this. I'm going to tackle it head on. And this was many, many years ago. And one of the things that I started to realize was that we all know each other, right? I may not know each and every person by name, but I've seen you at Ancura. We've seen each other at PRA. We've seen each other around. We've seen names on, oh, you wrote I saw you in that magazine, right? So there's been a touch point somewhere. And once I put it in the framework, and I think, Saira does this too in terms of what she puts on the LinkedIn, is she's sharing stuff with the community, right? Stuff that we all want to know. And Saira does this too, right? Where it's oh, how do I go do a search for debarment? Oh, how do I deal with the government shutdown? Oh, what documents do I need with the subcontract, right? Things like that. And then you sharing those things means that you've provided value to other people, and then they'll think of you. But the second thing, and this is what's really important, is it'll start to filter your LinkedIn feed so that you start to see content related to the stuff that you engage in. Yep. So if you are someone who does not use LinkedIn very well right now or at all right now, then LinkedIn is kind of like a messy, dirty pond slate that doesn't know what to do. I have no idea what to do. You have to tell it what to do. And the way you tell it is by when you engage with things, it'll look at some of these keywords. When you write stuff, it'll look at those keywords. And then it's just going to start to play the matching game, like Match.com, when, where we used to go date, where I met my wife on OkCupid, right? It just matches your interests. And that's what it does. So over time, you will stop seeing things that are uninteresting to you. And you will, I'm glad you asked that question, will stop showing up, and things you want to see will. If you find, there was a time where my feed kind of got messed up and got just way too depressing. And I realized this because I'd started engaging with a lot of content that was now pulling that into my feed. And so I had to stop engaging with that to reset it and cleanse it a little bit to create a better balance of, political awareness, but also making sure that I was still using it for what I'm here for, which is business, research administration, and so on. So you will have to be the curator of your LinkedIn feed. It's not by accident that it happens. But so that's something. Love this. Okay. So I have a premium membership and I pay for it for one reason only. This is the only value I get out of it, and it's the only reason I pay for it. I'll let Saira talk about what her thoughts are, but for me, it is because on the profile, in order for me to be able to have this featured item here, you need the premium. And I pay for that because I want to be able to have my brochure of stuff. Oh, I should probably update this to 2025 since years have changed. Listen, my program and services are the same. But yeah. So Saira, have you found it particularly? I do not find it particularly helpful other than this particular feature. I like seeing who has looked at me. I don't like that being anonymous.
I like to see who has looked at me. I like to see how my all of my posting stats, if I'm looking for a position, it does a great job in kind of showing you the options for positions that are available. I personally love premium. I think that it's worth every penny. But again, I think everybody's different. I would say that if you're not really into LinkedIn yet, maybe just start. And then you can, kind of look at the premium features later once you've, kind of adapted to using it and you're feeling you're getting some value out of it. Then you can try it out, for a month or two and see. And then you can always cancel if you find
I would definitely try it out. I would definitely do the free version first. There's no, when I used to love, so anyone here who has ADHD knows this. You fall in love with a craft and then you spend all the money on all the crafting things, and then you never actually do the crafting thing.
You don't buy the $3 loaf of bread. You buy the $30 ingredients to make your loaf of bread, right?
And then it just sits on the counter forever, and then nothing ever happens.
Yes.
So LinkedIn can be like that, where you're like, okay, in order for me to get started, Nicole, you feel seen. You're like, stop seeing me. So yeah, so I wouldn't do that with this. Like, it's just not going to, you're not going to get any value out of it. So I would just play around with LinkedIn. And you can honestly, I think that if you were going to get premium because there's a goal you have that premium will solve the problem, right? Not just, and I think that's always going to be the thing for when you're paying for any of these pieces of software is please add all of us. Everyone.
Yeah, I was going to say everyone here should really be adding everybody here and following everybody here. It's a great step one. And share each other's posts and like support each other. It will go a long way.
Hey, Jean.
Minessa, one thing I want to make sure we have time to talk about because I think this is something people
let's jump to it. Yeah,
a lot is actually next on the list, which is because Minessa had just said this, right? My profile ecosystem changed because what I interacted with changed. And then Minessa was like, I don't really like what I'm seeing, So Minessa deliberately and intentionally interacted and engaged with other things to have the algorithm give a different set of posts, right, for them to look at. So that leads us very nicely into what actually belongs on your page. Okay. This is kind of interesting. There are some people who are they post very outspoken. They have missions and causes. Love it. Right. There's a lot of political stuff that goes on to LinkedIn. That's great, right? There's all sorts of stuff, but it's like you have to figure out what makes sense for you to post. One thing that I see a lot of people doing, which can get you into trouble, is mirroring other people's behaviors and thinking it's going to work for you. That's a really great way to kind of figure out what you want to do, but just always remember that number one, the internet's forever. So whatever you post, make sure it's something you want associated with you. Okay, so that's one thing. Two, don't be shy about posting the basics. So I posted the other day a checklist for subcontracts. Most everyone who's been in this industry for a while knows everything to ask for when they do a subcontract, right? This is like, you all know this. Most of you are doing this every single day. I'm not teaching you anything that you don't already know. However, there are also a lot of people who don't have it written down. They know it up here, but they're like, oh my gosh, this is actually helpful. I can use this to give to my staff. I can use this for the new RA that just started. Or a new RA sees it and says, oh my gosh, I'm going to look so good in front of my boss now because I have all this information and now I know I can use this to help level up. So the basics are really powerful. So if you're doing something like Melissa, if you have a role like in compliance contracting, honestly, I could sit with you, Melissa, for an hour and be like, I would love to see a post on what are the top 10 things you look for in a contract? What are some of the weirdest terms that you've ever seen and how did you deal with them, right? How do you negotiate with somebody who's not timely in communicating back to you, right? What do you say to the PI when you're like stuck in the middle and no progress is happening? These are all great posts that in your mind, well, everybody knows this, right? But they don't. People are hungry for this kind of easy information that's hyper relevant to the work that they're doing. So really, when you're thinking about what to post, that is a really great way to start is think about the basics that you're doing every day. What are the things that you know super well that you're an expert in? Don't assume everyone is an expert like you because I promise you they aren't.
Dude,
write those posts.
My biggest YouTube video, the one that gets the most views, was the thing that I know so well because I do it constantly. I was like, why would I make a video on this? I was doing a whole thing on debarment, and I have a clip video that's like less than a minute long that shows this is how you do a search to find out if somebody's debarred. It's a clip I pulled out. I was like, whatever, who cares? It is like thousands. Like people, they share it. Like it is and it's
everybody know how to do this in our industry, right?
But we don't, right?
We don't.
And that's why we have views. So FYI, so that's what you really want to be thinking about is I really like what you said, Cyrus, figure out for yourself what you want to put in there because, and I'll tell you, some of this does require doing internal work of like imposter syndrome stuff, like, cause like who wants to hear what I have to say? And it was very hard for me because I'm basically going around my peers and saying, here, let me tell you something. And that's not what I'm actually doing, but like, I don't want people to think that's what I'm doing. Right. Like, and no one really is like we're all friends here. Like, I think that, so I will tell you that there is definitely psychological work that I had to do to get over some of the humps to post. So it's not just as easy as saying just post. Like there are some of us have shit that we need to work through to be able to type that, and that's okay. But know that that's a thing, and just then you're like, okay, I'll work through that too. Like while I'm doing
Yeah.
this other stuff, I'll just work, and then it benefits other things because there's nothing bad about getting rid of imposter syndrome.
Another really great place to find inspiration, if you go to a conference, you watch a presentation by, let's say, Attain Partners does a presentation, repost it, right? Oh, I just watched this presentation by Gil Tran on the impact of flat indirect cost rates. It was so helpful. And here was my biggest takeaway, ask an open question. Did you watch it? What was your takeaway? Invite the audience in to engage with you. Sharing your perspective on books that you are reading, presentations you have attended, education, continuing education you participated in, maybe some kind of training that you just did for other support, whatever it might be. Those are also really exceptionally good, strong, powerful resources that will help you get out there, but also help others because like, oh, I didn't know that Feldsman did these presentations or these very affordable sessions on changes in the federal landscape. I should go attend one of them, right? By sharing those events, you're doing a couple different things. One, you're creating posts for yourself so that you're getting on people's radar. Two, you're getting on the radar of the people who created the posts to begin with, because you shared now Feldman or Attain or Huron or Saira or whoever, right? Now you're on their radar because now they're like, oh, someone shared our post. Well, that's great. So it's a really help. And plus three, it helps you get your perspective out there and helps people get to know you. So I think those are all really valuable things too, is that if you absorbed content from any of those modalities that has had an influence on you or an impact on you, share that with other people.
If you're on Facebook, go to Research Administration memes.
That's
Some
awesome.
complete stranger I don't even know. They're so funny. And I see them and I'm just like, oh my God, I snort laugh. And like, it's great for Facebook, but you can bring those into LinkedIn as well. And everybody, like, honestly, some of them are very, especially lately.
Well, to be fair, Sarah here is somebody who I've hit up several times. I'm like, girl, I need those things for this. And by the way, I was not the originator of Research Administration memes. I am proud to say that I am carrying on the torch, but it was Dave Smeltzer who had started it back in 2000. Holy mackerel. I think it was 2012, 2014, something like that. And, he's been busy as all get out. And so I said, dude, I got to keep doing this. So I revived it. And there's a couple of things in there that I've done. But Sarah, girl, my friend, got to put it out there. Give me some stuff to put out.
Perfect.
There.
So if you find any memes, everybody send them to Sarah, send them to Jean. So these are all ways that because that's the thing, right? We are all friends and we're all like, and how we become friends is by making jokes about research administration. I was just training someone yesterday who is going to be a brand new research administrator. And she's asked me a question and I said, I'm going to introduce you to the term that's going to become your best friend for the rest of your life.
Depends.
It depends. That's what I said. I was like, this is going to be the thing you're going to say more than anything you ever say.
Nate, I love that Nate turned on his camera and he's like,
Just to say-
I feel this.
Yeah.
I feel this.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I am gonna sell that t-shirt on my store because I actually already made a t-shirt for it. I just never put it on the store. So it's been sitting there for like 100 years. I want to get a mug that says it depends.
Yes,
There's an entire thing.
One of our bosses in our office has a mug that says it depends.
It really does.
It depends. And, I think Minessa mentioning the memes, this is a really important thing I really want everyone to internalize. Humor is a good thing. Don't feel like LinkedIn has to be dry and like everything has to be perfect. It's okay to show up and have a sense of humor. It's okay to make a joke. Don't make off-color jokes, like what I don't know what they're called now. They're like,
just make funny jokes.
Funny jokes. Exactly.
Use research memes.
Yes. So I think it's obviously I don't swear on LinkedIn. Like that's something I first, right? So but this is key, right? It's not that it's right or wrong. It's really about how you want to show up and what matters to you. So Minessa and I, even though we're sisters, right? This is something that we're very different about, right? That's just how I am. In my personal life, totally different story. But when I show up on LinkedIn, that's just not something I do. Minessa does. Clearly, it has had zero impact on Minessa's influence or reach, right? So Showing up as your
but it
authentic
did
self.
have an impact on my being able to get a job at one point in my life because and so that's the thing to sort of think about in
Yeah.
terms of,
Everything has a price.
everything has a price. And I really want to stress that is that, so I have many, many years ago, before I had the purple hair and whatever, and no hand tattoo, I was almost tame in comparison, but I had one streak of purple hair and I swore and and that was just, those are the two things that I did to express my authenticity. And I was turned down for a job because I lacked the professionalism that was necessary. And I realized that one of two things was going to have to happen. For either I was going to have to change or I was going to have to just accept that there were going to be opportunities that were not going to be available to me because there are going to be people who are just not, that I'm not their person. And I'm okay with that. I've been okay with that for a long time, but that also takes work, right? To be okay with somebody saying, I really don't like you, or I really don't want to hire you because you are not professional enough. And that hurts. They're wrong, but like there is a price. So it's not like the choice that I made is like, oh, you can swear and you want to make the choice, but know that people are going to see it. And then the people who are all about swearing will come towards you, right? And they're like, oh my God, I love that Minessa's so weird, right? Obviously people are here, like, so it didn't impact me that much, but now I'm 48 years old. I've had enough time to like work my way through a lot of that shit. So that's something just to think about. Before we sign, we have 10 minutes left, and Saira, I want you to talk for a second, but because I'm looking for a post. I do want to, because Saira, you mentioned that you're not a fan of AI, and I know a lot of people aren't. And so I wanted to actually share something with you that you're going to want to do that, so I'm going to share my screen with you to show you something, and you will want to do this for your profile, everyone. I mean, you don't have to, but I think you will want to. Go into your settings and privacy, okay? And if you go into your settings and privacy and look at data privacy,
Data privacy.
data for generative AI improvement, this is currently by default set to on for everyone. I turned mine off, which is why mine is off. Unless you want, because what will happen, what this means is that anything you put on LinkedIn, if you create something and you post it, they can take that and use it to generate content from your post and inform what they do in the future. So I don't want that because I'm an artist. Some people don't want that because of privacy. Whatever the reason is, if you don't want it, turn it off. It's on already. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. I was actually, as you said that earlier, I was like, who mentioned that they wanted to learn more about AI and research administration? Was that you, Nate?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to come back to you on that. That's not a today thing, but like this has actually been coming up a lot. So more to come on that. Especially
We
since
should
Saira
we should do a workshop.
yeah, especially since Saira and I both are on opposite. We're not on opposite sides. We just have different opinions, and I think it's great to have conversations with lots of people with different opinions so we can figure out for ourselves.
I think, just to say, I think AI has tremendous relevance. I am just hyper vigilant about the applications that I use it for.
And my issue with AI is actually more social justice related, and like I use it, but I'm still working through I think it's against my values, so I may have to stop and I have to figure out how to do that. Like, so there's
wow, I'm surprised
it's complicated. Facebook.
We'll do a workshop.
Complicated.
We'll have a session.
I'm more on the responsible use of AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, write my budget justification for me.
Right.
Right.
You know, like, don't get me wrong. I want a tool that does that for me because I hate writing budget justifications, but it does help. And I have been experimenting with it, and it has been extremely helpful. But I just want to make sure that I want other people's opinions.
We should, Minessa, we should
Yeah,
add this
I think
to
this is a really good idea to just sort of have like a group conversation about how are we using it, what do we think like it's so new.
Everyone's definition of responsible AI
exactly, and I'd love that. Okay, so we'll connect with you again after this. I use it all the time for all the things too, Jean. I use it for a lot. I use it to make memes for me and my wife. Like maybe I can use it more responsibly by not using it for that, and maybe only for, I don't know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
That'll be another conversation.
That'll be another conversation. But I wanted to touch.
Could be a great LinkedIn post at some point.
It would be.
You could write.
But I wanted to bring that up in the context of what Nate said just about AI, and then AI specifically related to LinkedIn, just to make sure that you knew that existed. Okay.
What I have learned over the last 18 months of heavier LinkedIn use is research administrators are awesome. And I absolutely love seeing other RAs posts because it just feels like we all get each other. So back to the points you were making about like imposter syndrome or feeling like who wants to see this? We want to see it. We are so siloed as a profession and we don't get to like mix it up with other people very often other than our immediate working group. And I just find it to be really inspiring and um I don't know. I love interacting with people on LinkedIn. I think it's just a great thing. And so you should not be shy or feel like what you have on your mind doesn't have value because it does. And when I come across other RAs that are posting on the regular, I love it. And I save stuff and I learn so much just from what other people are doing and creating.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's
I love that.
it's lonely out there.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. I would recommend a couple things, right? So your action items that I would give you as, because I think everybody should have a deliverable. One, go out on LinkedIn and connect with each other, right? Write down everybody's name in here. Go connect with one another. Okay. Get it going, right? Get the flow moving. Two, share one post, any post, something that resonates with you. Go and share it, right? Make a comment about it if you feel like you're in the mood to make a comment. Sarah has great posts that she just made recently. Minessa always has great posts. Share somebody else's content, make a brief comment about it. Okay. Third, just look at your profile. Don't do anything to it necessarily. Just look at it. And then go and as you're like looking through LinkedIn, see whose headers you're like, oh, that's nice. I like how that one looks. Look for inspiration when you're on LinkedIn browsing. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do anything with it, but now that I've kind of planted the seed, you're going to automatically look. So it'll give you inspiration. One of them will resonate with you and you'll be like, oh, I want to do that to my cover photo. Okay. Come to our next event because we're going to be doing one on resumes. We're going to have a couple more. We'd love to have you there. If you liked this event, this is something else that helps. Leave go make a post and say, hey, just saw Minessa and Saira do this thing. It really helped me. Here's what I liked. Ask your audience a question then. Say, this is one thing I learned about LinkedIn. What is something you use it for? Or what is something that you would teach someone else about LinkedIn, right? Ask a question to invite people to engage with you. Them engaging or not is not the point. It's just creating an opportunity if somebody wants to. Over time, the more you do it, the more people will show up. Last, do not be afraid to give and request recommendations on LinkedIn, okay? In this day and age, if your LinkedIn recommendation is empty or you haven't given recommendations to anybody, that is something that can hurt you. You want to get those recommendations. And honestly, we love to write them. So don't be afraid to ask. Sarah, I might ask you. Janine, I may ask you. Katie, I may ask you, right? Actually, I think Katie already left me one. So I think it's important to, if there's people in your community, if there's people that you work with that have high opinion of you, ask them. And say in exchange, right? You can say like, hey, listen, would you be willing to exchange recommendations on LinkedIn? I'm trying to just kind of get my profile looking really polished. People aren't going to say no to you giving them a recommendation, right? So I'm sure they'd be willing to reciprocate. So that's another thing I would recommend that you do. And last, don't be discouraged. The purpose of LinkedIn is it's not like how many people commented on my post. It really isn't. Sometimes there's all that work happening in the background. You may see zero evidence of it, but I promise you it's working. It may take a little while. Don't take lack of engagement, lack of interaction, lack of commenting as any opinion on your successful initiative on LinkedIn. It's irrelevant. The only thing that you need to be concerned with is getting your content out there. As you do it more and more and more, the rest will come. But don't see the lack of interaction in the early days as any sort of grading on how you're.
I wouldn't actually see it as a reaction to how you're performing ever, because LinkedIn is part of a network, and so that's why we're doing more than one session. Is that part of this challenge that over the years that finding jobs is not just one thing, or building a network. It's not just one thing. Building relationships. It's multiple different steps, right? And so one of them is LinkedIn. That's going to be one of those 30-something touch points that we talked about earlier on. Next week, we'll talk, or 2 weeks from now, I put the link in there. I see that some of you are already registered. We'll see you again for sure. If you're not registered, you can register now, share it with your friends. And that'll be talking about how do you leverage networking. And, we'll talk about NCURA and SRA and all of those things as organizations, but less about that and more about how do you leverage them, right? Because we're all part of them, but how do you leverage them to get what it is that you're trying to get to, right? Because in the end, whether it's a job, relationships, because ultimately it's all of these pieces, working together that creates the actual result, that whatever your result is in the long run, whether it's to speak on stage, get a job, write an article, whatever, they all collaborate together to actually hit that goal. So it's not just one thing.